Hey guys, welcome back to my watercolor channel, to my Christmas special. And today I draw and paint a Christmas gnome. The first thing that I do is to make a sketch of my little friend. He needs a big head. And then I continue with the beard, as well as adding a big nose. I wanted to keep the drawing relatively simple, so I added just a small present for him, as we have soon Christmas. Here a big bow and a big smile. The most important thing in watercolors, apart from the technique, is of course to have a good drawing ahead, a good sketch. Sometimes it does not work out, but it doesn't matter, so I erased a little bit and then I continued with my friend. Just adding some shoes. And then adding some stars, little stars to his head. So having some patterns there, but as you can see, I keep it quite simple. Then I continue with the watercolors. I made a very bright green out of lemon yellow and a pinch, a real little of the turquoise blue. So you get a very, very bright green. I haven't wetted the head of the gnome and just adding carefully the paint on it. It does not matter if the stars are being painted over, as I paint them later in a little bit darker green. So the first thing is done, and then I continue with the body. So he's wearing like a robe, and I add basically the same color. So I'm using the same bright green. I am here a little bit more careful, so because I have the hands and the present, and I try not to overpaint it. And then adding more green, and then taking off some of the excess paint as well, so there's no pond building on the cloak. And then taking off some additional paint with a more dry brush, so you can see the highlights. However, my painting here, or the area that I have painted, is still quite wet, so it's possible to take off the paint. Do it carefully with the same brush as I have used before, so it is a medium-sized brush. Then I continue with the nose. Here I add some of the skin color, so I mix it out of deep yellow, some cadmium red and a pinch of blue. It's a little bit more oranges, but not that bright orange. And put it onto the nose. And take here as well some of the excess paint away. Then I add some of the reddish, so here's a slightly red nose. So bit at the top. And then I continue to add of the same color basically onto his hands. I try not to add too strong pigments around here. And then I continue to make brown colors. So the shoes, I decided that they should be quite brownish, and I used basically the same colors as I used for the skin color, but the pigments a little bit stronger, so I added more of the cadmium red and of the ultramarine blue. And here it's also a very light layer of brown. However, I will add more brown, a darker brown at the latest stage. Now I continue with the present. I use some phthalo blue. It's a very cold blue and it's one of my favorite blue shades onto the present. But here I'm also quite careful not to overpaint the bow of the present. It's mixing a little bit with the cloak or with the robe of this little friend here. And then I added some of the paint's grain to this blue mixture, so it's for having a really nice smile. And now it's more of a grey bluish color, so it really fits well for the beard. A little bit underneath the head, and it's nearly done. Just the bow is missing and some of the shadows. Now I continue to mix more brown, so I use a way stronger cadmium red and then far more of the ultramarine blue, so they are really strong in pigments, as well as some of the deep yellow, and then adding it onto the shoes. Here in Finland, it is actually, those Christmas gnomes are actually quite common. You can buy those as stuffed figures and put it on your shelf. I think that's quite interesting. And we have quite many of those, especially during the Christmas time. However, when living in Germany, I can't actually remember that they were as popular there. Of course, it might have changed since then. Now continue with the bow of the present, and it is basically some of the cadmium red, but with a pinch of deep yellow, so it's a little bit a warmish color, especially as the rest appears a little bit colder. But I really like the green colors here. And then I added to the green color, which I have used for the robe as well as for the head, that some of the turquoise blue, so it's much stronger in the pigment, and add some of the stars, as well as I emphasize some of the edges here, for example around the hands, and then as well as underneath the hands and on the robe as well, and on the head. And a little bit here. Then I add some of the turquoise blue to the pom-pom. I think that's what's called in English. And then a little bit emphasize on the rope. I keep it basically very simple. I don't want to add too many details. And then the last step is basically I added some of the crimson red to the color that I have used for the ribbon and just emphasize the darker areas there as well. A bit here, there. And a little bit underneath the nose. And that was it. So thank you for watching and join me the next day.